We'll get our meeting started. Thanks everyone for coming in person and online, and we'll get started. It is, Alex has reminded me, 1:02. So we'll call the meeting to order at 1:02 for the Barber and Cosmetology Advisory meeting.
Yeah, I was saying.
Thanks for everyone for coming. So I'll turn it over to Alex for roll call.
Okay. Thank you.
Lededrick Leonard. Ron Jemison. Here, present. Natalie Enderman.
Present.
Nayland Holman.
Present.
Darren Peterson.
Present.
Laura Valdez.
Present.
Aurora Farthing.
Present.
Salvador Flores.
Present.
And presiding officer, Mary Lindsay.
Present.
Ma'am, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And thank you for working with us, Alex, getting it all going on time. I appreciate it. Okay, so we call the meeting to order. We have our quorum, so we'll go to item C, our general counsel training.
Good morning, advisory board members. My name is Athena Ponce. I'm an assistant general counsel with TDLR. I am going to be sharing my screen in just a moment to provide you all the training on open government. And hopefully I don't have any technical difficulties. We'll be getting to that in just a moment. Do you all see this screen shared that shows the title of the presentation?
No.
No?
Not yet.
Is it showing now?
No, ma'am.
There you go.
We can see it now, Athena. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as I said, this is the open government training for the Barbering and Cosmetology Advisory Board meeting. We do this training once a year when the advisory boards meet, and this is to comply with open government training. Again, my name is Athena Ponce, Assistant General Counsel with TDLR, and let's get started. This training is going to include training on the Open Meetings Act, the Administrative Procedure Act, and the Public Information Act. Here are some nuts and bolts of the Open Meetings Act. The purpose of the Texas Open Meetings Act is to ensure open and transparent government. The act requires meetings of governmental bodies to be open to the public and to be preceded by public notice of the time, place, and subject matter of the meeting. The provisions of the act are mandatory and are to be liberally construed in favor of open government. A quorum is a majority of the members of the advisory board or committee as fixed by rule or statute. A quorum of a governmental body, including an advisory board or committee, must meet in order to take an official action. If less than a quorum meets, the board or committee may have discussion but may not take any official action. And I just want to confirm, you all can see the screen that I'm sharing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Deliberation or discussion means a verbal or written exchange among a quorum of a governmental body or between a quorum of a governmental body and another person concerning an issue within the jurisdiction of the governmental body. A meeting occurs anytime a quorum of a governmental body engages in deliberation regarding public business or public policy over which the governmental body has supervision or control, or any time the body takes formal action. As to notice, the act requires advance written notice of the date, time, place, and subject of each meeting held. TDLR provides this notice in the form of an agenda. Notice must be filed with the Texas Secretary of State at least 7 days before a meeting and must be posted online both by TDLR and the Secretary of State. A board or committee may not engage in discussions about a subject not included in the agenda. What about social functions, conventions, and workshops? Keeping in mind that a meeting occurs whenever a quorum of a governmental body engages in discussion about an issue within the governmental body's jurisdiction, can members ever meet in an informal setting without violating the Open Meetings Act? Yes, members are free to engage in conversation that is incidental to the event. However, the discussion will be subject to the Open Meetings Act if a quorum of members is involved and the members either engage in a discussion or make decisions about board or committee business or take formal action. So some key points to remember are: always be aware of any situation occurring outside of a properly noticed meeting in which a quorum of members is present or engaged in discussion. Do not engage in substantive conversations relating to board or committee business or policy when a quorum is involved and you are outside of an officially noticed and scheduled meeting. Beware of the walking quorum, which is something that you want to avoid. A walking quorum occurs when fewer than a quorum of members engage in discussion about official business, and then communicate those discussions to other members. While fewer than a quorum of members participate in the initial communication, subsequent communication with other members will result in a quorum discussing official business outside of a public meeting. For example, on a 5-member advisory board, 2 members exchange phone calls and emails expressing thoughts on an upcoming rule change and exchange research that they have each individually performed regarding the issue. One of the board members subsequently forwards the exchange to another member. The members have now engaged in a walking quorum by engaging in a small group discussion outside of a properly noticed board meeting. Walking quorums can occur during conference calls, video conferences, hallway discussions, emails, text messages, and other new technologies. The walking quorum concept, combined with newer technologies such as Twitter, Facebook, and instant messaging, raised new issues about meetings and compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Here are some best practices to avoid a walking quorum. To avoid a walking quorum, members should not meet in small groups, discuss board or committee business, and then communicate those discussions to other members. Send emails or text messages to a quorum of members regarding official business, even if each email is addressed and sent to each member individually. Create posts on social media about board business where a likelihood exists that a quorum of members could participate in discussions, or ask a quorum of members, even on an individual basis, for feedback or comments on board or committee business outside of the public meeting. This is also called polling, which is essentially conducting an informal vote on an issue. Some guidelines for open sessions. A board or committee is limited to discussing the specific items on the agenda. During the public comment portion of the meeting, members of the public are given an opportunity to speak, and the presiding officer may set reasonable limits on commenters. A member of the public or a member of the board may raise a subject that has not been included in the agenda. However, any discussion of the subject must be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda for a future meeting. And guidelines for open sessions best practices. To avoid violating the act on the basis of insufficient notice, members should limit discussions to the specific agenda items contained in the posting filled to the Secretary of State or filed with the Secretary of State. Avoid allowing discussions regarding specific agenda items to wander off course into new issues that have not been noticed to the public. Not respond to or discuss agendas that are raised during public comment but which are not on the agenda, and specifically identify items for future agendas and communicate those items to TDLR staff. There are penalties and remedies for Open Meetings Act violations. Civil remedies show any interested person, including the media, may petition the courts to stop actions taken in violation of the Open Meetings Act. The Open Meetings Act also specifically states that an action taken in violation of the act is voidable. There are criminal penalties. Members who knowingly participate in a walking quorum or who knowingly participate in a meeting that is closed to the public are subject to misdemeanor criminal penalties. The penalties are a fine of $100 to $500, confinement in county jail for 1 to 6 months, or both the fine and jail time. Some best practices for the Open Meetings Act are to avoid communications that involve a quorum of board or committee members about official business outside of a properly noticed public meeting, and during open meetings, confine discussion to items specifically posted on the agenda. Here are some Open Meetings Act resources. Some are from the Texas Attorney General's office with the link included, Texas Government Code Chapter 551 Open Meetings, and the TDLR General Counsel's office with a phone number. Now we're going to cover the Administrative Procedure Act, nuts and bolts. The purpose of the Administrative Procedure Act is to establish minimum standards of uniform practice and procedure for state agencies and to provide for public participation and transparency during the rulemaking process. An APA definition of rule is a statement of general applicability made by a state agency that implements, interprets, or prescribes law or policy, or describes procedure or practice requirements of a state agency. A rule excludes a statement regarding only the internal management or organization of a state agency and not affecting private rights or procedures. A rule includes a new rule, an amendment to an existing rule, and the repeal of an existing rule. Sources for rulemaking are legislative changes, advisory boards, TDLR staff, four-year review, and rule petition. Rule petitions involve that any interested person may submit a petition to a state agency requesting the adoption of a rule. An interested person is anyone who is a Texas resident, a business entity located in Texas, a governmental subdivision in Texas, or a public or private organization that is not a state agency but is located in Texas. Here's a chart showing the Administrative Procedure Act rulemaking process. In this process, we start with rule idea and drafting, move to internal review and analysis, a review by the governor's office, then a first advisory board meeting. Afterwards, there's proposed rules filed with the Secretary of State and plain talk summaries, which are posted. The proposed rules are published in the Texas Register. There is a 30-day public comment period, and there is a review of the public comments. After that, there is a second advisory board meeting, and the proposed rules may be adopted at the commission meeting. An adoption notice is filed with the Secretary of State and published in the Texas Register, and then there is an effective date of rules included. The Administrative Procedure Act rule review process includes programs that are on a 4-year schedule, a notice of intent to review, wherein the public has a 30 days to comment. The General Counsel reviews comments and makes a recommendation to the Commission. The Commission reviews rule filings and comments and may re-adopt the rule. And the Advisory Board will be presented any comments and may recommend changes. Rulemaking resources are included from the Texas Attorney General's office, Texas Government Code Chapters 2001, 2006, 2007, the Secretary of State website, and the TDLR General Counsel's office. The Public Information Act nuts and bolts is what we'll cover next. Introduction to the Public Information Act. The Public Information Act, or Open Records Act, is intended to allow public access to information about the affairs of government and the official acts of public officials and employees. The Act makes all documents, records, and other information relating to official business open to the public, with some exceptions. Public information includes any electronic communication created, transmitted, received, or maintained on any device if it is in connection with official agency business. The Act should be construed liberally in favor of granting requests for information. The open records process includes requests for public information. The public may request copies of public information or request to inspect the information in the offices of the governmental body. A request must be submitted in writing. At TDLR, a request must be submitted through the TDLR Record Center, which can be accessed on the TDLR website. As to a prompt response, TDLR must respond to the request as soon as possible, but not later than 10 business days after receiving the request. We cannot ask why someone wants the records. We can only ask for clarifications through the GC Open Records team. The open records process includes general rule and common exceptions to disclosure. A general rule is a presumption of openness. Certain information is required to be redacted from open records. Examples include date of birth, most email addresses, driver's license, license plate, and VIN records, credit card numbers, HIPAA information, or Texas Medical Records Privacy Act. An OAG ruling must be sought to redact or withhold other information. If there is a request received by an advisory board member, as an advisory board member, if you receive a written request for records or correspondence that looks like a public information request, please forward the request ASAP to the advisory board team, who will forward it to the Office of General Counsel Open Records team. If the GC Open Records team requests information from you as an advisory board member, please respond ASAP. The 10 business day deadline applies to all requests. Some Public Information Act resources can be found at the Texas Attorney General Public Information Act Training Information and Video, the Public Information Act Handbook, the Texas Government Code Chapter 552 Public Information, TDLR General Counsel's Office, and TDLR Open Records Policy. Has the sharing ended?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Athena.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Everyone okay with that presentation? Any questions? Okay, we're ready to, we're trained now, so I guess we're ready to go on to our next agenda item. B. We approve the minutes, and everyone had time to look over the minutes. They were from June 16th, 2025, from our video conference meeting, and we will need to have a motion to approve the minutes, a second, and we'll have to vote on them. So after a few minutes, if anyone wants to, I've looked through them, but didn't notice anything that you noticed. You have to let me notice.
Aurora Farbang, I move that we approve the minutes.
Thank you. Marlene has,
Jemison, I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye. Or do you
Oh.
need individual votes?
Yes,
We need
I'll
to
do,
do
I can do a roll call for that.
Okay.
Okay, this is a roll call for item C, approval of the minutes from June 16th, 2025. Ledettrick Leonard. Aye. Ron Jemison.
Aye.
Natalie Inderman.
Approve.
Nayland Holman.
Approve.
Darren Peterson.
Approve.
Laura Valdez.
Approve.
Aurora Farthen.
Aye.
Salvador Flores.
I approve, but it's letter D, not letter C, just in case we need to correct that.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you very much. And presiding officer, Mary Lindsay.
Approved?
The motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item E now for public comment. And we have a few things to talk a little bit about. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. We'll open the floor. Public comments, we have 3. Can be made, they're gonna be made in person. Any person wishing to vote us, and then we have our paperwork here. So The advisory board members, will, accept your, public comment now. Kimberly Warriors, you're first. And you'll have 3 minutes. Alex, are you gonna keep time or you want me to?
I can keep it.
You have 3 minutes to speak, Kim, and the board members may not ask questions or discuss.
Kimberly Moyers, I went to Montgomery High School and Moore State College Orange. And I just kind of wanted to reiterate a few things that we had today to get it on the record, that I believe for us to have a higher success rate with a written exam, that we should consider lowering it at least to the 50% point. Because most programs, they usually cover the book in the first 50%. And that way it's fresh on their brain and they're able to test. Today's student, even our education system doesn't really have it to where they can retain this information for long periods of time. Even in my school, the students say my class is one of the hardest ones they do because they're having to retain the information kind of indefinitely. So I think that would help the overall pass rate, and that's the biggest hurdle for them to get through, because usually the skill comes right with them. And if they can get through that hurdle, then they're kind of can focus on their skill to be successful in the salon. So I think that should be considered. And also on the practical exam, I know there's a lot of different conversations about it. I think the way that the exam is, it is not really valid, that if we have to test if they know how to put a neck strip on or sanitize their hands, then, I mean, what are the schools doing? I mean, that's kind of a given. We teach all that stuff in the first week. And if an inspector walks into a school, then they can see, are you teaching sanitation? Are you not teaching sanitation? So if it's as is, I really think it's kind of a waste of time and money. I may spend 6 weeks trying to get them ready for the test. And if they could just pass my mock exam, which is way harder than the PSI exam, and then I can move forward and teach them actually salon ready skills so they can go out and make money as soon as they leave high school or whatever program that you're in. And so if not, then I think it definitely needs to be revamped. I know for years they said we can't judge skill on whether it's a good haircut or bad haircut, but we can also judge if something is kind of even or not even. And with the video conferencing testing, it's just kind of a disservice to the student. I've had students that have been even at a lower level and they make a 95 on the test. I'm like, okay, I don't know how that happened, but it's because you can't really see the detail in that video testing. And that's what we're having to do because PSI can't offer enough testing time for us to get through and get all the kids tested in time. And I think if we could move the written up and do something about the practical, then we're able to get them through and actually have them be a completer and in a timely manner. And I think even high schools and stuff, if they're not completed by the August after they graduate, then the high school is going to lose funding because they can't count them as they got their licensure. So I know that's really important, and I think some of these changes will help. It's not to water down the program. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Okay, next we'll call Laura Hayes. I think, Laura, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
No pressure, 3 minutes. That's why I outlined things in detail for each one. Do you have a folder? Because I can't possibly say it all in 3 minutes. But thank you, Madam Chair. First, let me back up. I'm Laura Hayes. I'm from McLennan Community College in Waco, Texas. I've taught all aspects of the industry, and I'm currently the program director there as well. Thank you, Madam Chair and board members, for the opportunity regarding past, present, and future conversations with concerns for both the written and the practical examinations. I know we heard a lot of that information this morning. And again, due to the 3-minute time frame, I just have a lot of thought. I've been in this business for 35 years, and I just had a lot to say. And watching these virtual meetings so many times, it's very difficult to watch virtual meetings and keep your mouth closed. So everything I've been wanting to say for a very long time, you have in your folder. Okay, so I'd appreciate you taking a look at that for me. With the current pass rate of 40% for the barbers written and 52% for cosmetology, I feel it's really time to take action and identify the issues. to finally provide the answers for the questions that Mr. Flores continues to ask at every advisory meeting. And thank you, Mr. Flores, for consistently asking that question. Maybe we can work together to get him the answers that he is always asking. I have a lot to say in that folder, Mr. Flores. I also do not feel that the practical examination meets the professional standards that TDLR has always upheld. And I know I hope not to box this up, Aurora even said this morning, holding TDLR to the gold standards. And I ask for continued conversation and discussion to look into this matter and either reestablish a practical exam with integrity and professionalism, the way it once was, or eliminate the practical. As mentioned, both probable causes and solutions are outlined in your folder. And as a passionate industry leader, I would like to be of service to the board in any way that I possibly can to help just make matters better. Thank you.
Next, we have Alicia there. Thank you. One, 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Rivera, and I am an instructor for Mount Pleasant High School, and I have been there for 21 years as a high school instructor. One of the things I would like to kind of reiterate is the discussion that we had this morning about the practical and whether it is beneficiary or not. It really goes down to the integrity of the test. As it stands now, as what Laura and also what Kim said is it doesn't hold our integrity. Okay. And one thing I would like to say is I do appreciate TDLR looking at this from standard of not one size shoe fits all, that high schools are different, colleges are different, and private schools are different. With that being said, I have put together just a little proposal here, and we've talked a little bit about this, but I want to draw your attention down to number 3 and under why the change matters. We as instructors, we already evaluate student skills daily through hands-on assessments. Schools conduct mini boards, grade outs, which provide consistent and reliable proof of student competency. Additionally, many schools maintain documentation of each student's practical application and master skills, which this ensures transparency and accountability in the evaluation process. I feel like, and it states I can't remember, it's the law, the rule that says that TDR has the authority to allow schools under their discretion to be able to give a practical. And with that being said, if we are going that way and we're not going to get rid of the practical, we need to look at schools who have a good passing rate and allow them to incorporate a practical into their curriculum that reflects what it is that I'm saying. And then if that's not going to be able, we're not going to be able to do that, I ask that we really go back and revise the practical to where it is to standards. One thing as an advisory board members, you have to understand is that TDLR is only, basically it's this. It's not their problem if somebody can cut hair or not. They've said that plenty of times. They are challenged with health and safety, and that's all we're ever going to get out of that. Before, it was a different time. It's different rules, and I just think we need to do what is best for all the candidates, whether that be take the practical in school or outside.
The 3 minutes is up.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll proceed to item F, staff reports. And I think the licensing division, Jennifer Cortez.
Alright, my name's Jennifer Cortez. I'm the licensing team lead for cosmetology. And then we see that we have the licensing staff report. You might need to get a little focus on online. Can you hear me fine?
Good, a lot better.
Beth. You see, we have the licensing staff report, showing from fiscal year 2025, we had, 346,514, and then our population went from 2026 to 366,791 for licensing, practitioners. And these are licensing establishments. Population of fiscal 2025, 57,393. The fiscal year 2026 population total was 57,614. Our overall industry population of 2025 was 403,907. And for fiscal year population of 2026 reported was 424,405. We have online applications for new Class A barbers. They went live in September of 2024. Online application submission increased from 14.6% at the start to 78.1% at the start of 2025. You'll see our team emails received. Our team answers emails daily. We have so many comments and we working and answering emails daily. Fiscal 2025 was 2,514 total. And 2026, we have 3,213. Our current projects for the agency is currently involved in project of developing a new licensing system. It's called the TDLR4. The new system will be providing enhanced online services that will include submission of applications and renewals, self-service options such as updating information like phone numbers, emails, and mailing addresses, and uploading of documents or completing required documents online. TDLR regulates a lot of professions, so the project is expected to run early in 2028. Program websites will be provide updates as each program is transitioned into the new system. So slowly they'll enhance each program. For our outreach, we have TDLR attend. Our TDLR attended a premiere show in San Antonio on September 28th and 29th. Our licensing manager, Yvonne Lopez, was present there, and she answered questions related to licensing and continuing education.
Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions?
Our second report would be Education and Examination Division. Simone Cortez.
Good afternoon, advisory board members. My name is Simone Cortez, and I'm a program specialist for our exams team. I'll be presenting today's staff report for the Education Examination Division. Our first item on our report will be our school curriculum approvals. As we just began our fiscal year on September 1st, we continue to see an increase in curriculum applications submitted due to the merge of the Barbering and Cosmetology program. Oh, that's the. Can we go back to the first page, please? Sorry. It should be 2 pages, 3 pages actually.
One second.
Still not about to say.
All right, there we go.
Weird.
All right. Can everyone online see? Okay, perfect. All right, sorry about that. So that first item is gonna be the school curriculum approvals that we just talked about. Our second item on the page is going to be our newly approved and total Barbering and Cosmetology continuing education courses. We are expected to see a continued increase in courses provided, with barbers now being required to complete continuing education for renewal. I'll speak a little bit more about our implementation efforts towards the end of my presentation. Can we go down, please? All right, for our last data point, we have the examination statistics. I do apologize because we had a slight mix up with our numbers. These numbers represent our total pass rates for the fiscal year 2025. We'll get the correct updated information for our first month of fiscal year 2026 to you guys after the presentation, so I do apologize about that. And then here we go to our updates, please. First, we have our examination updates. Shortly after a previous meeting, we met with our barber and cosmetology SMEs for examination review. Our SMEs reviewed 103 existing items, edited 26 items, deleted 10 items, wrote and approved 59 new exam items. We're scheduled to meet with the group again early next month. Also, for exams, in collaboration with our SMEs and PSI, our testing vendor, we've made some well-needed updates to our Candidate Information Bulletin, our CIB. The refresh CIB was republished on our website October 1st. Next, we have continued outreach efforts. We went out to many presentations, attending hair shows, and we're continuing to hold live sessions to support our schools. Another major milestone for the division was the final implementation of House Bill 5060, where barber continuing education requirements went into effect on September 1st, 2025. Also beginning September 1st, we had new CE requirements for all barber and cosmetology licensees that included our human trafficking prevention training. Our last update is announcing streamlined process for paper student permit applications. Paper applications will now only be available for students who do not have a social security number. And I wanted to throw out a little PSA. Please ensure that when you're submitting those applications to also submit the affidavit along with that. This fits into our agency's goal to reduce overall paper usage. This concludes my report. I'm available if you have any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
Go ahead.
You have some questions, Salvador?
Yes, I guess I'm gonna repeat myself once again. You know, those numbers are still kind of very low on the passing rate, and I do want to just make a quick comment because that's how I feel after listening to this summit this morning. You know, in my personal opinion, I don't see how we can eliminate this practical exam and depend on a written exam when our numbers are so low. And then how can we get these people out to the workforce when they won't be able to pass this exam? I'm still concerned, very concerned about those numbers. And then when we look at the exam updates and we're looking at all the discussions that are going on, to determine, what's the changes that we need to do on that written exam, we go back to the same thing. I want to find out if we had a discussion in June. I want to know from June to now, where are we at right now when we made these changes? Are numbers going up or not on the written exam with that additions or revisions that we've had on those questions? That's just my concern. And I thank you for your time, by the way, whoever's doing all this work. And I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it for the last time because I don't think it's going to happen. But I really want to know who the presenter is for every single area that we speak about. So when I have questions, I know who to direct those to directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores, for your comment. I just wanted to state that on the agenda report, we do have the incorrect exam statistics, so we will be providing to you, actually, sorry, I misspoke. So we'll be providing to you September's pass rates. Next time we meet, you will be able to see what those updates to the exam items did to the, passing rate, because all BAC exams got republished October 1st as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I appreciate that very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr.
Ron
Johnson.
Johnson, Advisory Board. Do we have the stats to show, since we reduced the hours from the 1,500 to 1,000, to show if the cosmetology operator exam went up or down?
I'm sure that we can pull the pass rates from the time before it was changed and the time after. for you.
Gotcha. For some reason in my brain, I could be wrong. God help me. I just remember it being like 70% or 60% in cosmetology operating. And I remember, y'all know my mother was on the board, so I used to come and sit in the audience a lot back in those days. I just remember that argument that at that point about the hours being reduced, and how that could affect the numbers of the pass fail. So if we are finding out that we are getting supporting documents that the percentage is lower, since we have lowered the hours, then we have answered our question.
Yes, sir. We'll get that information for you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Laura Valdez, just for clarification, so you said these numbers, did you say they were of fourth quarter?
So the examination statistics, this shows the total fiscal year 2025 pass rate and total exams administered. We'll get that updated information for you for the first month of fiscal year 2026. And it will just be September.
I have one more.
Anything else?
One more question, more on this, yeah. Has there been any discussion or anything with PSI as far as, because I believe they put out like a practice exam or anything like that. Is there anything that TDLR has said yet this is a good, resource? Does PSI give any resources that TDLR recommends for students for the current exam?
I do not believe so, but let me go ahead and double check what they have available and get back to you. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I do know that SEMA and my lady and PSI worked together to come up with that that exam, talking about study guide, and they just launched it last month. So I know SEMA has that for a small fee toward the school or the student. I'm not sure Paper Point is going in that direction, but I know the PSI work hand in hand with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have any department-backed resources, so please give me some time to look into that.
Thank you. And to kind of echo what Mr. Jemison talking about, speaking to, yes, our hours were lower cosmetology, but our exams stayed the exact same. And it's, the time to cover everything is, we're having a hard time for, and especially for students that struggle, which we all know that's where it's at. We lost time to do that, plus, more skills for the salon. So it's really detrimental to our pass fail. Thank you.
Mr. Jemison, in the summit,
Yes.
we provided the pass rates for both the written and the practical, the past 5 years.
5 years? Okay.
Yes. So if you would like copy,
I have them, right?
I believe
He has them on here.
you have.
Oh, yeah.
And what, so what year,
They were emailed to?
Oh, you go.
excuse me, what year would we look at? I can't remember when the
It
change was
was
made.
2025, so
Oh,
it
on
would
that chart.
yes.
So it was
The law changed in 2019.
2019, okay.
But was that combined cars and bar? I'm sorry, was that combined numbers of cars and bar together for operator and conference? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or was it
yes, I do.
separate? 'Cause I think I remember seeing that chart that you're saying, but barbering, you know, we walked, well, barbering was always a little low. But cosmetology operators seemed like they were higher
Right.
at times. So I don't know if they combined them and then that brought the whole total down because barbering was low. And if so, then maybe we can get that split
I'll look
out
and
for us.
see if it was
Yes,
separated out.
okay, yeah. Because I think that's gonna answer a lot of questions for us.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and even if it's combined, we're still at 53%. I mean, that's still low.
This is Natalie Enderman, and I want to echo what Salvador and Mr. Jameson were saying. I think that these are numbers that we need to look at. I think they're pretty critical. I think some of that information, I don't know, you guys were saying that are in person, that maybe you have that, if that could be emailed to the board, but I can go back and look at every agenda that was emailed to me, but if the statistics are there that we can look at, I think this is pretty critical to where we're moving forward.
Okay. Thank you. So are we gonna request that? We get that data,
Yes, that will be sent after the meeting to the entire
Okay.
advisory board.
but for the 5 years?
Yes.
More than
Okay.
5 years. We need from when the
We
1,000
need- I'm
hours.
sorry.
We need
Yeah.
from before.
From 19.
I have all of your requests written down to
Okay.
send the information.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Alex, were you wanting to say something to me?
Oh, no, just wanted to let you know that Ms. Enderman had her hand up.
Okay, thank you so much. No problem.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments from online? Maybe I'm missing someone. Okay. So we're on our third report, customer service division, and that's Emily Howe. Am I right?
Yes, sorry, my camera is taking a moment to load. 1 second. Okay, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Good afternoon, advisory board members. My name is Emily Howe. I am a quality training and performance analyst for the customer service division, and I'm filling in for Claudia Enriquez today. So our staff report shows our contact statistics for fiscal year 2025, as well as fiscal year 2026. So far, the number of contacts for fiscal year 2026 remains consistent. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions, anyone? I just want to congratulate Steve and TLR because they have all the positions full. Lorraine and I were talking about it earlier. That's exciting. And so, of course, customer service is going to level out, and I'm excited about that. And thank you for all your hard work, what all you've done to kind of help us bridge when we didn't have anyone to talk to. And we kept sending everything, and we kept calling, and we couldn't get anyone. But we realized what was happening finally. More that y'all talk to us, and we appreciate everything that you've done for customer service and helping us. I know it was tough times putting up with all of us, especially when we got those 2 permits, right? Yeah. Okay, we're on number 4. If we're ready to go on, and that's enforcement division, and Morgan Cummings will do that for us, that report for us.
Hello, my name is Morgan Cumming, and I'm a prosecutor in the enforcement division. and I'm here today to provide you with the enforcement report. At the top of page 1 is the division's performance measures. The performance measures materials are organized to compare all of fiscal years 2024 and 2025 to each other. Does not contain fiscal year 2026 because that began September 1st of this year. I would like to draw your attention to performance measures. Percentage of complaints closed within 6 months. For fiscal year 2024 for barbering, it was 66.81%, while in fiscal year 25 it was 81.64%. For fiscal year 2024 for cosmetology, it was 55.30%, while for fiscal year 2025 it was 74.91%. Overall, the performance measures for barbering and cosmetology have improved from fiscal years 2024 to fiscal years 2025 for the enforcement division. Lastly, please review the 2 case summaries starting at the end of page 4 of the report. Does anyone have any questions? Questions?
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. So our 5th report is going to be the compliance division, and Angela Sanders must be online.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. I'm Angela Sanders, the Style and Wellness Team Lead, Cosmetology Program Specialist for the Compliance Division, and I'll be presenting our report this afternoon. I'd like to highlight a few items from this report. First, under current projects, the compliance staff has been involved with the design and creation of the new Barbering and Cosmetology Law and Rule Book. We've been participating in that process as part of the proofreading team. So we, proofread several drafts of the book. Under outreach, we have participated in several outreach events these past few months. First, we participated in the TIVA. We hosted informational booths at the TIVA conference, which was held here in Corpus Christi, my hometown. We also held a booth at the Beauty Under One Roof Barbering and Cosmetology show in Houston, and the Premier San Antonio show. Now, this year with the Premier show, which has come to be one of the biggest shows, TDLR was actually provided with 2 booths. And this was due to the timing of the show, which was, did my camera go off? I'm sorry, one moment, please. I think my camera flicked off. And I do apologize. I get, there we go. Okay, thank you. I'm having issues with my camera. I apologize. But at the premiere show, TDLR was given the opportunity to host 2 booths. And this was due to the timing of the show falling shortly behind the date that the new continuing education requirements took effect for barbers. So we had our usual booth downstairs, which was hosted by compliance and licensing staff. And then we had the continuing education. We had the second booth upstairs in the continuing education area, which was hosted by education and examination staff. So that was a first to actually have 2 booths. Also, in last month, we hosted a booth at the Texas State Association and Beauty Culturalists 81st convention, 81st annual convention. On the first day, we were asked, Sean O'Neill and I were asked to speak with industry professionals regarding just recent changes that had taken effect, as well as answer any questions they had. And on the second day, we had the opportunity to speak with over 75 students, cosmetology and barbering students from the area high schools and junior colleges. And topics discussed, what to expect once you have completed your schooling, how to be successful in the industry. And I must say, these students were a very enthusiastic group of students, and they asked a bunch of great questions. Um, Also, finally, we participated in a virtual presentation along with other compliance staff from other programs to approximately 30 foster youth with Arrow Ministries regarding and just an overview of the barbering and cosmetology industries in an effort to educate the youth on different career pathways and opportunities within the industries that are offering the career and technical education. This concludes my report. If you have any upcoming conferences, meetings, or professional association gatherings, just whether it be virtually or in person, that you would like for us to attend, please contact Sean O'Neill or myself. I'll be happy to take any questions at this time.
Any questions from the floor? Any questions from online? Thank you, Angela.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. We're ready to go with the number 6 report, Field Inspections Division, and that's Juan Munoz.
Good afternoon. My name is Juan Munoz. I'm the Central Region Manager for Field Inspections, and I'll be doing your staff report for this afternoon. The first half here, you have the statistics for fiscal year 2024 compared to fiscal year 2025. As you can see, we did increase our inspection totals from fiscal year 24 to 25. What next item here is in fiscal year 2025, field inspections referred approximately 1,132 barbering and cosmetology inspections to enforcement. The following are the top 3 direct enforcement violations that we submitted to them. In this next part, these are just the top 3 violations in general that we wrote for the fiscal year 2025. In fiscal year 2024, we began tracking violations that were corrected while the inspector was on site to highlight the inspector's efforts made to provide the exceptional customer service and also to assist the licensees in coming into compliance while we're still on site. So in fiscal year 2025, 1,721 violations were documented as being corrected and resolved while the inspector was still on site providing education as well. Pending any of your questions, that concludes my report.
Any questions on the field inspection report?
That's a big number. That's a big number.
Jump, didn't you? Okay, so if there's not any questions, then we'll go to report number 7, Executive Office. Mr. Bruno?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Bruno, Deputy Executive Director for Licensing and Regulatory Services. I want to begin my report by talking about the changes that happened to our agency this past legislative session. Once again, there's not been a legislative session recently where we were not given some additional duties, and this one was certainly no exception. TLR was assigned the oversight of the Texas Lottery and the bingo program. So we are currently sitting at about 880 folks in our agency with a maximum FTE count of just a little bit over 900. We've now added a third building. Many of you used to attend these meetings downtown at the O. Thompson building, and then we came out here to this building, and we now have the Bush building, which is one of the new buildings in the Capitol complex where lottery and bingo are housed. Eventually, probably in about 2027, we will also be moving. There's a new space being constructed for TDLR at 15th and Lavaca, which is also part of that larger Capitol complex. This change has brought about many new people to the TDLR family and 2 new programs. in addition to the program that was added, which is solar panel installation. You may have heard about solar panel installers and concerns about honesty, trustworthiness, and integrity in that program. So that's a new license type that was also added to us. So we've seen some organizational changes. For example, my roles as Deputy Executive Director of Licensing and Regulatory Services expanded. We've got a deputy who oversees the lottery and bingo. Susanna Cutrone, who was also previously Deputy Executive Director, is now our Chief of Staff. And Brandy Myers is head of our entire financial operation, which includes both lottery and bingo. It's a big change for us. We're having, the staffs are meeting each other, getting along and getting to know each other. And the great news is that there's no service interruption to those who participate in lottery and bingo, and also to those who are being served by our licensing and regulatory side. Another big effort, you heard a little bit about it, is TDLR Core. TDLR Core is a modernization program that began and will last approximately 3 years, where we'll bring all applications online. We'll bring better and more recognizable service both to our customers externally and to our customers internally. We're beginning with wave 1, which will include the weather modification, one of our smaller programs. And during that wave, we're building out what's also called common functionality, which are things like name, address, business location, et cetera, that will be found across all of our programs. So this is a very exciting project, something that we've been waiting for a long time, and we do believe it will bring great benefit, both, as I said, to you all, to the licensees, to the licensed public, and to our own employees. And that's what I wanted to report on today for you, and I'm happy to take any questions, comments that you have.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? That's very exciting.
It is. Thank you.
We're excited.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Ron Jameson, Jr. Are we still gonna be meeting virtual?
You have the option to meet virtually, yes, as the advisory boards. I know that this one was a little bit different today when we combined with the summit, but yes, all of our advisory boards have the authorization to meet virtually.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Online? Salvador, have anything? Natalie? Aaron, anything? And we're smiling. Okay, then we're ready to go on to, item G. And it was a recap of what happened today. I understand. So I wrote a couple of notes down. It was about testing, of course, the practical exam. And if we keep it, and it continue to administer the practical exam, who can grade it, who can administer it. And then there was a stackable license. It was a very interesting conversation. And of course, I'm still a little bit concerned about lowering the number of the hours, but I don't know how the rest of the board feels. So how would you like to start? Steve, do you want to bring up anything you want us to start?
I think you hit some of the highlights. I think it was a great conversation. I also heard some comments that I think brought, some comments brought agreement and disagreement, which is always healthy. I think one of the comments, several that I heard regarding allowing an earlier written exam seemed quite popular, especially among the specialty licenses, which don't have that, and even making it a little bit sooner as an option, not as a requirement. But I heard both sides of folks who feel that the practical has value and those who feel that it doesn't. I was just happy that we were able to host this discussion. And as I said, I think we can certainly call more at your discretion or any advisory board members if there are other topics or even further discussion warranted. As was mentioned, we do have the strategic plan session coming up, and you all are certainly free to discuss any possible rule changes or go back and do any work groups on any rule changes that you all would like to see. One thing that I neglected to do during the summit that I regret is say thank you so much to all the staff who helped pull this off and make it happen. It was a huge effort to get that many people online. I think that may be one of the largest online audiences we've had. We had a full room here. That, on that, I really want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Tremendous job, tremendous job. And I think things like that are, seem to be very well received by the professional community. And again, if we like us to hold more and continue these types of discussions, I think it's a great format. I think it's a great format.
Does anyone have a comment? Want to start talking about any of these topics that do we want to think about forming a committee?
I think so. I think the committee would be good.
This is Natalie Inderman. I would just like to share that I think we had a lot of really valuable information brought to us, and I think it's really important to consider all of that information as an advisory board, perhaps through a work group. I really don't believe we're in a position to make any drastic changes because the opinions are so far across the board. I think there's a lot of information to evaluate as a board and really seriously consider. And I think these practical exams are not something we can take lightly. There's just so much useful information presented to us today. So as Mr. Jamison said, maybe a work group is the answer, but I think that we need to be critical in how we move forward. And that takes all of our opinions. Regarding the, I wrote my notes here regarding the, what was it, to reduce time? I actually didn't hear anyone, as far as my understanding of all the comments, specifically address reducing time. What they addressed was the opportunity to take the written exam sooner. So to me, those were two very different things. And I think what I took from our audience is that maybe we need to address the timing of the test, but not the timing of reducing hours or anything like that. So that's my personal opinion. And everybody heard things differently, but what I heard more was the allowing of when to take the test, not allowing how many hours towards that. So I would just like to see us work together and not make any decisions right away because I want to hear what everyone has to say. Natalie Inderman, thanks again.
Thank you, Natalie. Anyone else? Oh, Michelle.
Laura? Yes. I agree with what Natalie's saying. I think that creating committees for the different topics that were put out today at Summit would be valuable as a board for us to do that. When answering the question of how to reduce time to get to the workforce, I feel that I agree with now, you should not lower the hours any more than we have already reduced. As a school, 1,000 hours, it's tough to get everything that you need to teach them in that amount of time. Getting to the workforce quicker comes from once they complete with our programs, getting them licensed and in a job.
Yes.
And so that's why I think the timing of the written exam and the discussion of the practical exam, should it be in-house, should it be out, like those are topics that are going to help us answer that question on how to reduce time to get to the workforce. I do believe it's very important that we make sure that when we are sending them to the workforce, that we're putting them in a position to be successful long-term in their career. And I think that's one of the key things and why we have to keep the hours that are in place, because it's not going to do them any good if we get them to the workforce too quickly, and then their employers then take them as not being as well educated, so then they're having to start at lower pay. Like, you can go down a whole nother trail where it's going to take them longer to be successful in their career and make an income where they can have a good living. It's not about just getting into the workforce and, hey, let me take that low minimum wage job. It's about getting in the workforce to be a professional and be able to sustain their lifestyle.
I agree.
Ledrick Leonard, I think there was definitely some rich conversation about it. Some of it I had no idea that was even an option or that people had those ideas. So I think it's definitely worth having it. And the three things that stand out to me: stackable, practical, and taking the test faster. Those kind of the three categories that I saw. And the stackable was the one I think that we're talking about. That some of the courses, some of the licenses would reduce hours, and just for the stackable, which that's separate from what Natalie was saying about taking the test earlier. But the practical part, I just want to make sure that we're all having a healthy conversation about how important that is and how always it's been important about industry. And we don't need to make any decisions right away without taking everybody's input. But I do think having all three of those things on a conversation with some work groups will be ideal. We can make a healthy decision for the future, not just for next year, next 5 years, but for the future um, as a whole. Because our goal is to get those licensed professionals out there, but to be gainfully employed and not to go into the 2 and 3 threshold we normally have when people don't feel like they've been successful. So I just think it's worth having those big conversations before we make any major moves.
Yes. Thank you. I'd just like to add on the stackable hours, like that's like a big discussion because it's such a different approach than what's been currently taken. And I'm not saying that I'm going to say, no, it's not a good idea. That's not the case. But I think that what we could put up or consider sooner, and that is how are we evaluating the specialty license that currently are getting no value to go into it? Like, I think that's a quicker discussion that can be had is looking at all of the licenses and say, okay, if I took this license, how many hours can apply to what license? And it's attacking that first before we try to like just change the whole thing. Because I do agree that, you know, if I went to aesthetic school and now I want to go to cosmetology, well, there may be some overlap there. So how many hours can we transfer to the cosmetology program and it be fair? You know, so looking at that first before going into the whole thing.
I agree.
Do we need to make a motion?
I don't know, but is anybody, anyone online, Salvador, want to say something right quick?
Yeah, just really quick. Some of the takeaways, I think that I agree with a lot of things that have been said right now through our board. I think it's very important for us to share this information as we're thinking about it. But yes, totally agree that we have to have committees set up for this information. But when we look at the first discussion that we had when we talked about removing these practical exams and so on, I was so glad that if I'm not mistaken, I think Derek was the person that made it clear to us saying that, when we made the decision of how can we get maybe the students not getting the training in the classroom, but maybe out of the classroom. And I thought, man, what a great idea. Just like nurses do, they go to clinical rotations and hours. We could do the same, but that's a legislation decision that we're going to have to wait and see if we can apply in the future. Because I think hands-on experience at a salon is a very good idea, and hopefully in the future we can look into that if we really want to go in a different route. On the second part of the actual making a decision of effective on the we got to think about, like we said, about there's a lot, the military people, the financial aid, dividing all this information among the people and find out, can we literally make some adjustments on the structure that we want to do in that area. And finally, when we talk about, reducing the timing, that's another big issue that I am concerned with. And I think if it's possible, which I don't know it is, you guys can talk about it or let me know if I'm in the wrong direction. But I think when we do set our committees, I think we should bring in a couple of maybe community members also so they can give us also feedback and we have a decision among not just ourselves, but bring in the community, just like we did this summit. I think it's a good point to hear them out one more time and make that final decision when the time comes. Thank you.
Agreed. Alan, did you have something to say?
I just appreciate everybody's feedback. If we do form committees, I would be interested in being on that first committee. And that's pretty much it.
And Darren, how about you? Anything?
Nothing that hasn't already been stated. I also want to just say that I think supporting these students and what's best for them, that's the most important thing. Being in the industry and seeing both sides of it, we definitely want to send them out with all the knowledge and skills, but also make sure that they have the capability to have a successful career and it be something that's been very important to them. So I definitely support the committees and taking the time, to consider what's best for them overall.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I
Mary,
just,
oh, go ahead.
Yes, Natalie?
oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, just a little bit of clarification. The reduced hours was done by legislative action, wasn't it? It wasn't
The
something,
1,000 hours?
yeah,
For cosmetology?
coming down
Yes.
from, yeah.
Yes.
So, but the ability to change the way the exam is administered, letting the schools perhaps do the practical, that is within your
Scope.
scope. Yeah. Correct?
That's correct. The statute gives us that discretion to make
Okay.
that decision.
Okay, Natalie?
Yes, Mary, this is Natalie Enderman again. And I just want to kind of recap. I feel like everybody's voice has been stated and been heard, and I think it's all important and the work groups are important, but I just want to share with the board and everyone watching that, it's an honor for all of us to be able to represent cosmetologists and barbers alike and make the right decisions for these students and future professionals. And after hearing all the information today, I think that we certainly have the ability to nurture and encourage change, but I don't think that we're going to do that without a lot of critical thinking and talking and working together. So I appreciate everything that was brought forward to us, but it's not a movement today. It's let's take valuable opinions and work together to make educated decisions because we want success. For our professionals. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. I appreciate your comments because, this is something we can't take lightly. And I think we all are invested. We're here and we know it's going to have a major impact on the licensees. So, Ms. Valdez, you asked, do we have to make a motion? Do we have to? Well, we're going to have committees, right? Work groups, excuse me, that does sound better. Work groups. So I will ask, there's only one of these that I hear myself that we can act upon today, and that's that early exam. But even at that, it comes to us if we do anything, then it goes out for public comment. Am I right, Alex? Goes out for public comment, or Darius, can we
So
make the motion?
at this point, we're just kind of in the idea phase.
Yes, okay.
And so we will
Then we're
move on
not
later.
pushed to do anything,
Right.
asked to do anything.
You can make a motion if the board wants to recommend that we pursue a possible rulemaking, but until we have draft rules put together
Right.
and presented to you, we're not actually voting on them.
I personally would like to see the students if they get ready for the exam and they're ready, and they can take it, they feel like they are ready and they can pass. And the fact the teacher does also that maybe we could, I don't know if the 50% is the number, but that's the only one I see that we could draft today, or we can make a motion today. How do y'all feel about it?
I think we could recommend that they study it or that we work on it. I don't know if we're allowed to. Or what I think I hear you saying is we can ask you to adopt or draft some language that we can work around to change that rule. Or no, we need to study it first. Come back with.
So we don't have rule language before us now. So
Right.
you can ask us to look into something.
Yes.
You can tell us you approve of some idea, and then at some point in the future, we can bring you rule language
Right.
that would implement that. But this is just kind of.
And that doesn't require a motion, Derek, or does that require a motion to ask for that?
It doesn't require a motion. I mean,
Okay.
we're probably going to pursue most of these ideas
Okay.
internally,
Sounds good.
whether you tell us to or not.
Sounds good. The early exams, and especially for aesthetics and nails, and I would like to see that go forward for the specialty licensed that have not had that ability, had that opportunity, excuse me. Now, the stackable, you know, I feel real compelled to know not to have to reteach everything. And as some people said, they have to repay for it. No, that's not what we're all about. Don't believe that. But when it's going to reduce a license that much, I gotta study that. I want the curriculum in front of me. What are we gonna leave out for nails? Somebody that's gonna go and be an artificial nail technician, and we're gonna take their license down. Now, I was hoping I didn't hear that, but when I asked the question, I understand now. And Lorraine, I'll ask you one more time. That is gonna reduce the $600. And I don't feel comfortable with that. So I do want to help the student not have to retake if they move over, that kind of stackable. But that's just a transcript, and that's completely different. Am I right? Yes. Okay. I'll rest my case. Yes, Leonard.
With Dr. Leonard, Larry, I do agree with you. I like the taking the written test earlier. That was a new idea, but I actually like it a whole lot. I even like the 50% of every program, whether it's specialty or full time. I like the 50% for the idea of if you do have distance learning, then you have 50% of the time to work on the written part of it. And then secondly, the win that the student gets, knowing that at the halfway mark, I got that done, and now the anxiety and stress goes away, and now the other half of the program they can really focus on the job ready skills. So I actually like that idea, and if we need to get something drafted or get that worked on, then I second that for sure.
Other comments, Mr. Shamson?
Good.
Okay, Laura?
I'll just say when it comes to written, I do agree as well, and hope that you'll put that at the top of your list as having the written being able to take sooner than later. I probably am more at the 70%, 80% of completion of their program. But you know, that's just my personal opinion, but any time between 50 and 80 is great. And then right now, the way it works, so many people aren't able to take advantage of that because by the time their hours get reported, they're already done with school. It just depends on when they hit their 900 mark. That right now the ruling isn't helpful. It helps very few people. So definitely minimizing it, I hope could become a quicker priority because I think it would take less to do than some of these other items, which will probably take a little more time. And then in reference to back to the stackable hours, I think what I hope that you'll bring out first is let's look at the specialty programs that are in place now or all the licenses that are in place now and say, okay, if you have this license and now you want this license, how many hours can you get for the time so they're not repeating? Because I think the shocker of what was shared today when the hour marks were put in for people who have been in the industry. I've been in the industry. I'm a second generation and been in the industry myself over 23 years. And I think that was the hour breakdown was the big shocker because while you say a subject line, when you put it into its own specialty, it doesn't include just that, how to do nails, for example. It includes some sanitation, it includes some professional development, it includes a lot of other items that go with it. So to say verbatim all of it and put it into a 1,000-hour program, I don't think is the right assessment. If anything, if you would take us back closer to our 1,500 hours where we were before, than where we are now. I'll leave it at that.
Anyone online? Salvador?
Yeah, just really quick comment. I think it's on the first part that we're speaking about, which was the exam being administered a lot earlier. I think that sounds like a pretty decent idea to think about. However, the only thing I would recommend, only just working at a district, I kind of knew stuff that we had to do prior to making a solid decision like this, would be to do some type of pre-exam measurement. Because think about that. let's say that we get the student that's going to take the test ahead of time. All right. Now we got a situation where he will be paying or she will be paying every time they fail, which would be a disservice for them. Number two, I would be very worried about them being discouraged and then finally saying, what, you know what, I'm just going to drop out of school. Now we got another major problem in our hands. So we really got to figure out what type of measurements we would want them to do as a pre-exam prior to taking those tests. Just a thought.
Mary, this is Natalie Enderman, and I just want to piggyback off of what Salvador said. I think that we need to discuss this further before we act upon that, because there's too much going on with too many different types of educators to be able to just put a willy-nilly number of 50% out there. I think that's going to set some people up for failure. I really do think that we need to have a more clear discussion, which may be done in a work group. I'm not sure that that's a decision that can be made.
Okay.
So and one last comment is that we're studying a number of when they're eligible, not when they have to test.
Right. That's been talked about a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
It would be to their discretion. Hopefully they'll be. But you never know. There's some people that take that strike out on their own, it may be a problem. Okay, so we're ready to go on?
Work group.
Are we gonna do work groups now? Are we gonna wait and, wait till we get some language about what we're gonna be studying in our work group, right?
Yeah, so we're not waiting on you to tell us what to do. We will be working in the future in the background. We will call work group meetings to discuss when we have little drafts ready.
Okay.
And so the process will proceed. You don't need to kind of.
You'll be in contact with us.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just make a recommendation that, getting us involved as soon as possible, I think would be nice, just like the summit, hearing people's voices. It's nice to hear people's voices. I feel like I've been on the advisory board for some time now. And I feel like sometimes it's like, okay, I'm getting this information, but I wish I had been involved in a little bit of discussion pre versus after. So my recommendation is just as early as you can get advisory involved in a committee when you're working on a situation would be appreciated.
We all hear things different in a different time. And so when Steve got up this morning and said, stackable license, everybody knows what that is, and we all know. Wait a minute, I've been here 50 years, not hitting this position, no one's talked to me about anything stackable. Now, Ron and I sat here and talked, we used to do that. We gave the 150 hours over to our cosmetology students that started when they had hours. So we made transcripts, and then we've done it, but in a different aspect, right? So what's old becomes new, but not changing the hours so easily. Eric.
So if we want to go ahead and assign these subjects to the current work groups, we can certainly do that so everybody knows where it's going to be funneled to. Alex, do you want to kind of plug us through our current work group situation?
And do y'all have a time frame for that as well?
We do not have a time frame. Well, there's so many unknowns that it's hard to get time frame.
Okay. Yeah. That had to be done by Christmas. That's where I'm at.
We'll probably not have.
All right. As long as I got to next year, we're all right. We're still dealing with shit.
So,
yes,
Madam Presiding Officer, I will share the work group assignments that we have to this point, and then if we wanted to.
Is that the ones we used from before?
Yes.
Okay.
And we also have the
I
option.
definitely learned a lot about that because I didn't appoint myself. It was my first time to appoint committees, but I didn't put myself. And I've been dealing with curriculum for the last 40 years and was not on the curriculum committee.
If we can also create new work groups if you feel that we a specialized group for a particular purpose, or we can rely on the old ones, and I see they're on the screen now.
So this is what we have for the different sections for education and curriculum, for health and safety, enforcement, licensing, and then the specialized services.
You'll see what I'm talking about. Right.
Well, they're good. That's all.
But I ended up with,
You were on all the others.
yes.
Yeah. I'm sure they can move it around however you see fit.
Well, I guess we should say those ones of you that are here,
What's the names of the work?
yeah, you're looking at the work group. Are you okay with that work group still? Or do you want to move?
Change now because of the
Right?
project, right?
Madam
Yes.
Chair, if I could just add a little, I was just
Yes,
asking
thank
Derek and I'll let him jump in. I think we would like to point out to you where at least Derek would suggest that the topics from today, which work groups those would
Sure.
apply to help your discussion.
Sure. We know education.
So as far as the stackable hours, I think that's probably the education and curriculum work group. As far as the exam, that could also be education. It could also go into licensing.
Derek, did you also say there could be a specialized work group?
Yes,
For
we
these
could
topics?
create a new work group if you want to develop one just for these subjects.
I was
We
gonna
also
say,
have.
the members of education and curriculum and licensing are almost identical.
Yeah.
You could combine the two to handle those issues perhaps.
We might get into quorum issues if we
Oh,
combine.
yeah.
We can't have two work groups considering the same issue, or we may have a quorum.
It's three topics we're talking about.
And so we have,
Stackable.
stackable, the exam.
Stackable with the education.
Get rid of those and you get three different.
There's two, all three of them.
The reduced hours, is that the third one? And so that could again either be education or licensing.
I think you should go with stackable, practical.
And what about the schools administering the practical exam? Or someone other than, seems like I keep hearing them saying maybe there's not enough people to provide the practical exam, or it's not happening in a timely manner. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's
you
correct.
guys say? So where would that one fall?
Probably under the education.
Yeah, so it's all kind of the same.
Yeah, it's mostly fits under education.
So Derek, could we not just make three totally different ones than that?
You could, yeah.
Like just have one called, one is for the practical exam, one is for the stackable, and one is for the reduced time to get written. So there'll be three different groups and we just sign up.
Sure.
I think.
And that would actually give us a quorum also because we'll have more people in the group, so.
Well, as long as each group is addressing a specific subject and not
Yes.
leading up,
Correct.
then we should be good for forum purposes.
Okay.
I don't know if we can decide or choose, but I really would like to be part of the practical exam early. That's one thing I would suggest myself too, because I have a lot of knowledge in that area.
So that.
This is Natalie Enderman, and if there's a possibility of that, I would be interested in working on that group as well and doing the research.
Salvador and Natalie.
This is Naylin. I'd be interested in being on the practical exam committee or group.
There you go. We're getting it done for you right here.
So then,
We may want to clarify if they're talking about any changes or adjustments to the practical exam, or if they're talking about written exam eligibility early, because those are two separate things.
so the early exam is the written exam eligibility, right? And that's Salvador and Natalie.
No, this is practice.
No?
Are you talking about the practical where they're actually,
I'm talking about, this is Natalie Enderman. I'm talking about the practical, not the early written exam possibility. I'm talking about the practical being an opportunity at a school site or doing away with it or just all the
So that's two
suggestions
different
brought forward.
committees.
yeah,
That's two different ones you're one.
Correct.
Maybe you could start with the practical one. So
Okay.
as you, I think as you just said, that's just a suggestion. So as you said, Derek, please jump in. The practical exam would address, yes, will there be a practical, yes or no?
Yes.
Should the practical be allowed to be taught? How would that work if schools?
Administered
An-
at the school.
Anything
Or
regarding,
by who?
yeah, anything regarding the practical exam.
And that was Nyland and Natalie, right? And Salvador,
Yes.
Salvador, you were practical or were you the early written?
The practical is what I was talking about. Yeah.
That's Salvador too.
So how many do we have for that?
We have three.
you can add me. I only have four.
And Laura?
Okay, so that's the maximum for that one.
How about the early exam? Belinda? Who else? Ron will. Do we need one more person?
Don't forget to sign yourself.
I'll do it.
I
Who
want
said that? Oh,
Darren.
Darren is saying he'll do. No.
Okay, Darren, thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Lindsay, who was
Uh-huh.
that second?
The early exam or eligibility, like Lorraine said, that was Leonard, Ron Jemison, and Darren
Thank you.
Peterson, okay? So then we have the
We need one more.
stackable.
You can have, you don't have to.
Three would be fine.
Yeah, 4 is max, you don't have to have.
Is there a limit to how many you can be on?
I'll be on the stackable.
Mary, this is Natalie. I'm interested in that committee if there's space.
Okay,
Okay, so that's three.
you're just on practical right now,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Who else is on stackable? Laura, you're already on one. You didn't get
I
on.
don't feel like I'm not, I mean, I can
Okay,
be on
then-
it, but I'm not in
Okay.
the industry and all, so I don't know.
He said we could
Everyone
be on
else has one.
more than one.
Nyland has her, okay, so, who, you want to be on stackable?
Yeah.
Is there anyone else on the board that's not participating in the meeting today? Are we
They're all
missing here?
No, everyone's here.
We're all here.
Everyone's
And
here.
so,
So I'm
that's
the only
Natalie,
one.
so on stackable is Natalie, myself, Mary Lindsay, and Laura.
I'll be on those. I get on that one too.
Ron? Yep. So then we could use one more person on early exam. That would be 4 on each one.
I'll do it.
You'll do that one, right? Probably to be an expert in the field. Okay.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, we'll just compare notes and make sure
Okay.
we've got everything correct.
Okay.
So for practical exam, members Flores, Inderman, Holman, and Valdez.
Yes.
For early exam of Mr. Leonard, Mr. Jemison, Mr. Darren, and Farthing.
Yes.
Okay. And then for the stackable exams,
Mhm.
I have Inderman, Valdez, Lindsay, and Jemison. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Last call. Anybody want to say anything about that? Okay, so we can proceed to venture and look into all of that. And Derek says he's gonna be helping us with that. Let us know when Lord's will be going. So we're on agenda item I, discussion of
Okay.
national.
Can I say something really quick?
Sure.
I just want to say thank you so much to the team that we normally don't see or hear from, especially when we talk about it. You guys are behind the scenes and we appreciate your work because I know it takes a lot just to put this together and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Salvador. This is the discussion of natural hair braiding rules and possible recommendation to approve draft language for future rulemaking. So I don't really know what we're being asked to do. Can someone elaborate on that?
Last meeting, we tabled it, conversation.
Yes.
Ron Johnson, tabled something to come back to it.
I gotcha.
And so a lot involved in it because we started talking about shampoo and.
Yes.
that nature.
Yes,
So,
I remember.
if I can remember correctly. Right. Yeah, and using tools and stuff like that.
Yes.
So the question I would have on that item, Ron Johnson, would be, does that have to be made today as well?
Please, please.
Come on.
Simone Cortez, education examination. I think the biggest point of discussion previously was whether blow drying should be allowed while doing styling natural hair.
It was definitely a tool, you know. Y'all ready for that? Cause y'all been ready. Y'all been ready. I know.
And I believe we have Athena queued up to talk about this. in a
There
minute.
was two.
Just to give us a little more clarity on it, and then, cause that's for the hair break, right?
Yes,
Just hair break.
that's the only one
That's
that
what
we
it
opted
says.
on.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, Athena, you're gonna talk to us?
Well, we're not.
Um,
Go ahead.
yes, good afternoon, advisory board members. You should have gotten some materials that's pointing out agenda item I and that gives some background and information about the subject. Do you all have that with you?
I did.
So at the top of the page, it says agenda item I, discussion of natural hair braiding rules and possible recommendation.
Give us 1 second, Athena, please.
All right.
We don't govern that anyway, am I correct? TLR doesn't govern hair braiding, do it? Or do it? It's not
So
under our umbrella, is it?
it's an exemption from the statute and we're trying to provide more definition to that exemption.
Gotcha. Cause there's no like.
Correct.
Whether we're gonna allow blow dry.
So if you all would be open to the discussion today to listen to and just consider some draft proposed language that we have come up with, I could share my screen so that you all could see what we have come up with for potential consideration in the future.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, can you all see this Word document?
Yes.
Okay, so as you all likely recall at the last advisory board meeting, there was that in-depth discussion about natural hair braiding, and at that time it had been included in potential rules as part of the larger rule package that you all had been considering at that time. And there was a discussion, and you all decided to remove language that was in line 3. If you look on this page over here where my cursor is, this italic language, if you
Excuse me,
recall.
Athena, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Excuse me, are you able to go single page and maybe blow it up a little bit? It's a.
Let me see. Let me see if I can simply make it larger, just a second.
Thank you.
If you just hit on view at the top, and they'll let you there you go.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what I'm showing here is the prior language that had come up during the prior advisory board meeting. You see the 3 here that's italicized. You may remember there was a discussion about shampooing, drying, or blow drying a client's hair in preparation for natural hair braiding. And you all voted to remove that language from the rules that went to the commission. Before the rules went to the commission for adoption, the larger rule package, we elected to remove all of the natural hair braiding language from the proposed rules so that you all could address the subject with a clean slate, and so that we would have flexibility to provide draft rules that hopefully you all maybe would find more agreeable or would be willing to discuss. What I am showing here, this first language under 8315, you can see how the new rules were adopted under B, C, and D. That's what went into effect prior. And then in E and F, the italicized 3 is what's new language that changed from what you all considered prior. And this was developed between General Counsel Compliance and Enforcement, E3, incidental drying of the hair in immediate preparation for natural hair braiding. And we're offering that language as a potential draft language to maybe include with a rule package in the future if you all find this language to be more acceptable.
So basically, we're saying braiding, we don't care. You can braid all you want as long as you don't dry the person's hair. Is that what I'm understanding?
What
They
it's
have
saying-
to dry their own hair before.
What it's saying is incidental drying of the hair in immediate preparation. So it's not talking about like a shaped blowout or blow styling. It's talking about just using a dryer to make sure the hair is dry so that it can be safely naturally styled immediately before the natural hair braiding service.
Just progressively.
Wait, I don't think that's what I don't know, unless you guys correct me, but I don't think that was our discussion. Our discussion was, we had said that we didn't want the hair to be dry with any type of, blow dryer or whatever, because that was a point that we wanted to make sure that our clients, or I'm sorry, our customers and our clients, as well as our employees, would not be losing money from having someone to dry the hair as well. That was what we had discussed.
Well, the reason we came up with this language is just to propose an option for you all to consider. And if you wanted this to be part of a rule package in the future, then it's something that we would include. If you think it still needs more work, or you all want to discuss another way of approaching it, then that is an approach that would be taken as well. This was just brought up today for the advisory board's consideration and discussion, not for passage or a vote to recommend to the commission.
Last time that we spoke, the gentleman had already put it in a way that we all agreed upon. And it wasn't like this, I know that much. And now we changed it again, so I'm not too sure. Because this one to me sounds like you can blow dry the hair, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, it does. That's what I'm saying. It does.
I want to change.
What this, Angela Sanders, compliance specialist. What this is saying is that as a part of a natural hair braiding service, it's defining what's a part of a natural hair braiding service, which would not be regulated, and it includes the incidental drying of the hair in immediate preparation for natural hair braiding. It's just that drying of the hair is really a part of a braiding service. I mean, you have to have the hair dry. You don't have to use a blow dryer. There's no need to use a blow dryer to actually style the hair. You're not using that blow dryer to style it at all. You're just needing to make sure that that hair is dry in order to be able to braid the hair to prevent any type of mildew, any kind of scalp conditions from developing once you've placed the braids in the hair. So that was the issue.
Are you talking about putting them on a hooded dryer?
No, this is Naylin.
Whatever way they need to dry the hair.
This is
Whatever way.
Naylin. Can I provide a little clarification?
Yes.
While I'm not in favor of any type of, I'm not in agreement with the whole issue of not having a license to braid. So don't get me wrong with that. But what I do want to clarify is that yes, the hair does need to be dry before you braid it. However, just from personal experience, when we tell a client to, when we're dealing with mainly curly hair, mainly uh mostly African American hair, when someone comes in and we've told them to dry their hair at home, when they come in, it's coiled up again and it's curled up again. And so I think with this incidental drying of the hair in immediate preparation for natural hair braiding, sometimes it's not, when you have to blow dry the hair in the before you braid it, it's not really even to make sure the hair is dry. I mean, while you want it to be dry, that's not the main purpose. One of the most pressing purpose is to make sure that the hair is stretched out again, because it's really, really difficult to braid hair if it's coiled up again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, I mean, the language that's in italics makes sense to me.
Can I
Yes, Laura, I'm sorry.
I just want to say that, so we're talking about an industry that's not regulated, trying to make accommodations for an industry that's not regulated, and then devalue the industry that is regulated. There's a reason why blow dryer you have to have a license. You can burn somebody's head, especially when I mean, I know naturally curly hair. I know that what we have to teach our students and what to do. There's a lot to it. But when braiding got took out of our license and put here where it could be done unregulated, we cannot then just go and say, okay, we're going to give you special accommodations because you are not licensed. And then, I mean, they don't go hand in hand. I think all the valid points of what they're saying about what needs to be done to have dry hair, it's true, it's accurate. Okay, go get your hair washed and blow dried by a licensed professional and then go get your hair braided. I don't know the solution. It's not our place to have to find a solution for them. It's our place to make sure that the laws and the protection of the public, and that we're taking their health and safety into consideration. That's our job, is to make sure. We said TDLR's number one thing that they care about is, are we working on the public in a safe and professional manner that's not going to cause harm to the public. A blow dryer can cause harm to the public.
Yep.
Jemison Jr., would that have to go back to legislation? Because that was some years ago when they took that, when they removed it, right?
When they removed
hair
natural
weaving from,
hair braiding.
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, hair braiding. When they removed hair braiding, wasn't that 8 years ago?
So
It's
the
been a while.
exemption is found in Occupations Code section 1603.0013, and that's what we're trying to clarify. And that says this chapter does not apply to a person who, in the last part 7, performs only natural hair braiding, including braiding a person's hair, trimming hair extensions only as applicable to the braiding process, and attaching commercial hair by braiding and without the use of chemicals or adhesives. So that section was put into place September 1st, 2021. And so that's already there. Hair braiding is not part of our regulatory scheme. So we're only seeking, for purposes of clarity, to draw the line. What is hair braiding and what is not hair braiding? So here we're just trying to say, if you're just doing hair drying as part of the hair braiding process, then we will not consider that to be a regulated service.
I think it's such a fine line, because if someone's at home braiding hair for their niece or their mom, and someone reports them and says, this lady's over here braiding hair.
Well, but are they doing it for compensation? You can do it for your family as long as it's not paying you, or your friends or whoever, but compensation is.
Remember that topic?
So they have to like prepare the hair before they go in, and if they're having a challenge with that, that's that deregulated industry. It's not, I mean, why do we want to make special provisions for that? I hold strong on saying, no, they shouldn't. Should they even be allowed to shampoo them? They, you know, braiding is the act of actually braiding. And there are some people that are really great at it, and it's part of their heritage, and I get it, and wanting to do it separate, but as long as it doesn't cross the line of what could put safety, I mean.
And you're saying blow drying is stepping across the line? Yep. Right, Lauren?
Yes.
Yep, because you can harm someone.
Madam President, this is Natalie Enderman. Mary,
Whatever, try.
I agree with Laura. I don't think that we can permit it in one area and not another. That's very black and white to me. So, I mean, I think that there's danger incurring when we allow that. I was not here for the June meeting, so I'm not aware, and I was looking back in the June minute to see if I could understand this. But as I'm understanding it from this conversation, I don't know that this can be
So-
there.
How do we get 3 off of there? That's what it's really all about.
I'm sorry?
How do we?
So 3 is not, 3 is not Athena Ponce, Assistant General Counsel. 3 is not currently in the rules. 3 was not passed. 3 was not considered prior by you all. This was just brought up today because you all had said during the prior meeting that you all wanted the natural hair braiding subject to come up during the next advisory board meeting and that you wanted it to be an agenda item. So 3 divisions worked together to come up with language that we thought might be more palatable to the advisory board, just to put it for your consideration to see if you liked that kind of language for future rulemaking. But like I said, this is not in the current rules.
Okay. So we can say that it's a safety concern in our eye.
So we recommend new proposal without number 3 on it. I mean, if y'all want to consider like a hood dryer, but I don't think a hood dryer is gonna, I know what they want to do.
Because they want to straighten the hair.
I know.
That is valid.
Huh?
So why don't we leave 3 off altogether?
That's what I say, yeah. Leave 3 off. Come back with just 1 and 2.
So we feel as a committee, and that's everyone, that if you, we need to omit 3.
Oh, it's just them proposed.
So at this time, there is not a rule package or a set of rules. This is Athena Ponce, Assistant General Counsel. This is not a set of rules that is being considered for vote. It was just an idea and language brought up for discussion and for everyone to contribute to today to provide their viewpoints and see what direction they would like to going forward when rules are worked on.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for working on that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So Derek Burkhalter, Assistant General Counsel, if I could just kind of clarify, the department doesn't consider blow drying itself to be a regulated service unless it's being done as part of styling the hair. And so if here you're trying to say blow drying is now something you can't do, we don't interpret that to be a regulated service if it's not being done for styling purposes. Sheer blow drying. And so I don't know, in deleting 3, if you're trying to say you can't blow dry, we already think you can't blow dry. Or we already think that you can blow dry without a license.
You're saying you can.
He said, okay.
Yes, you can blow
But
dry.
you're wanting to go in and blow dry the hair because of technique and straighten it.
Right,
It's a
the
safety
straightening is
concern.
where you cross into a regulated territory.
I don't think you realize that you can give like a 3rd-degree burn with a blow dryer.
Well,
Not you, but I don't.
yeah.
Sorry.
Let's have the discussion.
Okay,
from-
sorry.
It's okay, let's just keep.
Oh,
little
it's
bit over
hard.
and have
It's
the
hard.
discussion for the advisory.
It is.
And yeah, so I'm just referring to the statute where it lists off as the different services that fall under each different license type. It doesn't mention blow drying specifically. It mentions styling and straightening. So if the blow dryer is used for those purposes, then it is a regulated service and you need a license to do it. If you're only doing blow drying just to sheerly dry the hair, we do not consider that to be a regulated service that you need a license
And it's
for.
been there.
And that's why we're proposing to add this to the exception for hair braiding, because you may need to dry the hair, sheerly to dry it for the purpose of braiding.
All in favor?
There's
This
just
is Nayland.
I have a question.
This is Nayland. I have a question. I'm just trying to gain clarity on what the next step is. Is this something that we vote on now, or do we just leave it, or do we just make a recommendation, or like, what's the next step?
So, and Athena can speak to this, but we're just bringing this to you to get your feedback. Where this is not a formal rule proposal, we're just trying to get your feedback on the idea, so we know whether to include it later or not.
What is the last
Okay.
comment that I'd
Well,
like to get is that
this-
if they're doing it solely for the purpose of drying the hair, then a hood dryer would be something that would work and wouldn't cause potential harm. Versus when you're picking up a blow dryer and you're using a brush and you're straightening the hair, it is a form of styling and manipulating the hair into a different form than what it naturally is. So that is, to me, it's up for then, discussion and perception of how you're gonna define what is styling. Is it just manipulating the hair? I mean, if you're just blow drying with your, that's not what's happening. It's like, so hood dryer safe, but you're changing the formation of the hair from the heat, changing the bonds in the hair to make it go straighter than curly. So it is a form of styling and changing the hair formation.
You're just stretching it out. You're not really changing it, and a hood dryer won't work.
Yeah, you are stretching it, she just said.
You're stretching it, changing the bonds that are in the hair from the heat of the dryer. It's the chemistry that it's behind what we teach.
But I'm telling you, a hood dryer won't work.
Sorry.
Okay.
And
So
I'm
if-
just gonna say, as a member of the public who's not an expert in any of this, I'm gonna lean on the side of my libertarian soul and say, when we're getting in there telling a black lady she can't dry her hair to braid it, I'm not comfortable with that. I think that they should be able to do that to do their hair, and I know that goes against, it's styling, it's whatever, but, I mean, I am, that's weird, like, there's something unsettling about it to me, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
There's a lot of history behind, like,
Yeah.
we don't have to go into like races or ethnics. It's just, we teach hair and protection of the scalp, even braiding and pulling. People get alopecia, they get
I know.
all kinds of conditions from
Extensions.
inappropriate,
Okay.
procedures. So
We seem to have a difference of opinion.
Yes.
Ron Jemison Jr.
Yes.
Time to go back to Houston.
But
No, this is serious, not serious. But I know this subject can go on forever. We can agree to disagree on a long one on this one. And I do remember, I think it was Senator Royce West, if I'm not mistaken, when this all came out. Out of Dallas, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then, but there is a blow dryer in every hotel room, so I don't know if that's regulated.
It's
I think the way that the young lady wrote it, Ms. Ponce, I think the way y'all came up with the wording of it, we're gonna argue this thing forever. My recommendation is that we accept it as it was written. As the changes y'all wrote. That's my recommendation.
Salvador wants to say something.
Yeah, just really quick. I went back on my notes on the 83.15. We look at letter B for the purpose of 1603.01.037. It says, this is the way it was written. It said, number 3, shampooing, drying, or blow drying client's hair in preparation for natural hair braiding. And all we had said is we wanted the blow drying to be removed. We never talked about drying. we just said remove blow drying. That's the way it was written prior to our discussion and this new number 3.
So they took it out.
Well, the way it's written, it doesn't sound like they took it out. That's the thing I'm concerned about, because it just says shampoo and drying. And I remember last time we had the gentleman, he took it out, and we all agreed to say that sounds right. And then we were just going to talk about it one more time, which was this week. But blow drying is what we wanted to remove, just that word, not drying, but blow
So it
drying.
can say drying, but not blow drying. That's what you're saying.
That's what we had discussed. We said shampooing, drying, client's hair in preparation, but it didn't say blow drying because of the heat, because of the damages that can happen, because this person is not regulated by no one.
Okay.
I just think for the practicality of it, if you're saying, you know, they have to engage in some kind of drying to be able to braid it, I don't know how we can prevent, you know, how you can eliminate something that's required for it to be able, for them to be able to perform the task. I don't know.
So I believe Mr. Jemison has put forward possibly a motion.
Yeah. We're gonna.
And so perhaps if we
vote?
have a second to that motion.
This is Nayland. I second that motion.
Okay. Okay.
And Mr. Jemison, the motion was to accept the
The way this
draft
policy is drafted.
Okay.
The new.
With the new language that y'all have drafted up for us.
Athena, can you put the language up for us again?
Okay, just a second.
Y'all know how our work was gonna be.
It's just
We get that.
hard. You want
It is.
people to be able to be free to.
I make a motion to pay.
And like I said before, if you were to vote to approve this, that doesn't mean this is going forward to the commission. It just means that you approve of this language to be included with a future rule package along with other changes we would be making at that time, which means that everything, including this language, would come before you again as part of an advisory board meeting when you're looking at proposed rules.
So we're gonna call for a vote, Alex?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Natalie Enderman. Can I share before we call for a vote? I think that they've worked, I think that Athena and Derek have worked really hard to create a solution. And I think that's appreciated under their professional guidance. But I also believe that we don't have to accept that. If this was tabled for discussion, we can discuss what we'd like it to be. I mean, if this is what you guys are moving forward with, we can, but I'm hearing a lot of back and forth, and we don't have to move on with that. We can carry forward if this is just to approve later. If we're not going to approve it later, let's not carry this forward. We can omit this and move on with our agenda, or we can vote on it. I don't think it's that challenging.
Well, I think we've had a motion and a second, so we
Right.
have to move forward with a vote at this point.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Who made the motion? Sorry.
the
Mr.
motion was
Jamison.
made by Mr. Jemison and seconded by Ms. Holman.
Okay.
Lededrick Leonard. Ron Jemison Jr.
For
Natalie Enderman.
Opposed.
Nayland Holman.
Or
Darren Peterson.
Opposed?
Laura Valdez.
Opposed.
Aurora Farthing.
I'm for it.
Salvador Flores.
Opposed.
And presiding officer Mary Lynn.
Opposed.
Okay, the motion has not passed.
Steve, say something real quick.
Sure, Morgan.
So, Athena, if you could put the rules up, the rule package up full again. I know y'all are really focusing on.
Morgan, I don't think everyone can hear you. Do you want to come to the front and make
Okay,
comments?
sorry.
And this is one of our enforcement prosecutors, Morgan Cumming, who you've heard from earlier today.
Alright, thought y'all could hear me. I normally don't talk, so. If you think you can put the rule back up real quick. So I know y'all are really focusing on E3, is that right? F is really important to enforcement. Right now, we don't have a clear definition besides the statute as to what is natural hair braiding, which makes going after unlicensed people very difficult. And it's one of those things where, so I know y'all are really hung up on C3, but I want you also to focus on, it's just not E3, it's also F.
As well.
Which severely limits what someone can do that is natural hair braiding. And that's really important from my point of view and my coworker who had to leave, who are the two prosecutors on cosmetology and barbering programs. And so sometimes you're getting so focused on this very small thing and you're missing the forest, which is this huge unlicensed people doing a variety of different things and claiming it's natural hair braiding. And if I had F, I could be like, no, it's not. This is what natural hair braiding is, and what you're doing is not natural hair braiding. So if you can't come to consensus for C3, E3, it used to be a C. Could you please approve language F to be in the next rule package? That's all. If you have any questions,
Stay seated.
stay seated. Okay.
I just make a motion to approve, F.
Jameson go second.
Okay, we're gonna vote on that to approve that.
Yes. We can do that. And again, this will all come back to you later, so this is
Okay.
really just to let us know what you approve, so we can kind of know what to work with and what to adjust more.
Sorry, I normally don't.
No, it's
Exactly.
very important because I did read all of that and it wasn't clear that that wasn't already.
Yeah, it's not. We just have the statute currently, and there's a lot of people that are pushing the boundaries beyond what I think is natural hair braiding, and so we came up with F to be like, this is not natural hair braiding.
And Morgan's perspective is very important because she's the one who deals with this day in and day out with the people who have questions. And so that's why we're seeking this clarity so that we can tell people exactly where the line is.
But we do see that this is important and, don't think that we have put a lot of thought into it.
No,
And you
I
think,
was just trying to be like.
and I understand, but it is important to us. Especially the ones of us that oppose it.
Oh, I'm not trying to change your mind on E3, I'm just was trying to be like, hey, F, can we? And that's, right,
Yes, ma'am.
that's what I was trying to be, because they came together as a package, and so when you didn't go with E, F was then taken out the rule package.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to bring that to y'all attention.
Thank you.
And may I have the, who made the motion and second, please?
Laura made the one. Mr. Jameson.
For that matter, it could be everything but.
And perhaps that should be the motion.
Yeah, so if we can change the motion, it could be everything except for line item 3.
Derek.
Well, we have a motion and a second.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead with the roll. Ledettrick Leonard. Ron Jemison.
Or
Natalie Enderman.
4.
Nayland Holman.
4.
Darren Peterson.
4.
Laura Valdez.
4.
Aurora Farthing.
4.
Salvador Flores.
4.
and presiding officer Mary Lindsay.
4.
Okay, the motion has passed.
Thank you. So that concludes us on item J, and we're going to K, discussion of date, time, and location of next advisory meeting. We're usually polled for that.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can adjourn the meeting. Yes,
Oh,
recommendations for agenda items. That
Maybe
can be
work
sent to
group,
staff, yes.
yeah, work group, discussions. Discussions as a result of our work groups.
Yes. Anything besides agenda items, for the work group, anything else? Anyone?
I would just like to ask, as far as the work groups themselves, if there's any way to see when those work groups have meetings set, because I've been contacted for only one work group since being a board member. And so I'm not sure if I've missed some, or there were some that were set that I wasn't notified about. So if there was a list or some type of a calendar of those events.
Okay. So that's a request to make sure that the members are getting notifications, but I think they were. Personally.
We typically do a work group report in the
Yeah.
subsequent meeting, and so that's when we kind of report back as to who met, what they discussed.
I think we just finished rather quickly on some of them. It seemed like, are we still supposed to be doing something? And no one knew. Maybe that's what's, because I only met one time and it was finished. Yeah, that was, maybe that's, we expect to do more. But we will now, right?
Yeah, I expect the frequency will pick
Yes,
up.
we'll
We
be
just
doing-
dealt with legislative session, so we
Yes.
typically kind of put a pause on
Right.
things during that session, but you know, we're moving forward, so we will probably be meeting more frequently. We can probably find a way to advise everyone on which work groups are meeting and when, so everybody
Perfect.
has a full picture.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for all you do for us. We appreciate it. Okay, so we can adjourn the meeting. And thank everyone for coming. Thank you. And it is 3:19. Right, excuse. Okay, now, we gotta talk about this blood. The blood. Ew, you don't get blood. The ones that melt your hair off. They do not have the blood. They do not do that.
If this is the forum, I can talk, but I heard. I felt
Drive me
we were-
crazy.
we were-
Like, you know, my daughter has extensions, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.